Yeah. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the KaleafWins live stream. Live from NYC. Listen, we ain't going to make this crazy. We ain't going to act all super deep. I'm here with the homie, the family, the frat, host of the Beat Network, moving forward to the Beat Media Network. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody give it up for Los in this yacht. Everybody give it up to Los in this yacht. You heard?
What's happening, Brody? Go Mop.
You go, Mop. Hey, they don't know about that.
We'll stop there. Everything ain't meant for the show. You feel me? No, so we'll definitely end that. But hey, bro, good to see you. Like you said, from New York all the way to Vegas, boy. We touching time zones with this little thing here. Listen, y'all New York niggas, y'all mornings, y'all mornings is nuts. I ain't never seen just like a whole state. I'll even get to upstate New York. I ain't never seen a whole state that's just been morning ready. When my alarm went off, I was like, damn, 7:30 do exist, don't it? All right, well, let me figure this out. Let me try to get things up.
Morning ready? What you mean morning ready?
Bruh, everyone that I know from New York, regardless of time, it could be 5 in the morning, it could be 7 in the morning, it could be 10 in the morning. I don't think I've ever seen any of y'all that's just been let me get to this, let me do this, do that, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, kind of roll over into it. It's almost like when y'all wake up, y'all up. Like it's just energy from there. And I respect it because I've never been that nigga. And I be trying.
A lot of us is like that, but like literally. All right, I'm going to put it real simple. Number one, we highly caffeinated. That's number one.
Yes.
Highly caffeinated. I wake up to a strong cup of ignorant coffee. A strong ignorant cup. That's most of us. For the New Yorkers that don't drink coffee and grew up in the buildings that I grew up in, when you in apartment buildings, people just fucking up in the morning, stomping. You below, people arguing,
right.
arguing. Look at the window, arguing. So it's like the streets is going to wake you up. If you're in the suburbs of New York, you're going to smell coffee, and coffee's going to lift your nose up and pull you over like a Looney Tunes cartoon. You know what I'm saying? But everybody, you see the pages on his screen, the Beat Network. Subscribe now. Don't be a hoe about it. Subscribe. Listen, we are independent content creators and media producers. There's a difference. But right now, we're going to talk about an array of topics. And this is the West Coast, East Coast Connect. You understand what I'm saying? No lame energy here. But tell, realtor, before I pull anything up, what is the first thing that's hitting your brain that's annoying you that's outside of this Drake and Kendrick? We can hit that later. What's the easiest one? That's the easiest one.
You know, that was going to kind of... I'm going to be honest. That's probably the main thing.
Care. Let it go. Let's put the monkeys out. Let it go. And you from the West Coast, and this is a good balance. I'm from the East Coast, a good balance. Let's go.
Listen, I can't... and I'm sorry to bring it back to Kendrick and Drake, but that's been like the main thing that annoys me. Only because when the battle itself happened, when the back and forth, when the bar for bar was going on, I was like, cool. This is what we've been waiting years to see. No more subliminals, no more little pop shots, little slick shit. Let's get to the bars. Let's get to the root of what hip hop is, and that's battling before it was ever creating a record. If you know, you know. But once it got past that, which is ultimately normally connected to Drake's name, once it got past that, it was just too much to it was too much to deal with. So I really started playing catch up. But the thing that annoys me the most is the glazing. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you get into the Drakeisms of a rap battle, like the argument immediately becomes about sales. It becomes about streams. It becomes about tour numbers, all these different things. And what they're not willing to accept is that where
Drake got his ass whipped. That's what they're not willing to accept.
Part one. Let's start there. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning. Subject A, he got his ass whooped. Subject B, he got his ass whooped doing what you as a Drake fan said wins a battle. You said that, you know, we watched it with back to back. The only difference is this is our first time seeing Drake go up against somebody at his level. Because with back to back, that record was huge. That record was nominated for a Grammy. That record made corporations do promotions surrounding back to back. Back to back became a slogan. You know what I'm saying? Like it became everything under the sun. Not like us did the exact same thing. So if we're going to get off the subject of just bars and we're just going off of numbers and visibility, okay, he did the exact same thing. But you're saying that that's not an L, but it was an L for Meek Mill. And then not only is he doing that, he's doing even bigger things with it. You know what I mean? He did there is no pop out without the beef. And I'm just calling a spade, because when you listen to his sound list, his song list, 5 of the songs was the diss records. You know what I mean? So there's no pop out without the actual beef. So he did a whole concert as a victory lap. And when you thought that the victory lap was over, you got the Super Bowl announcement. And then Drake tried to be petty and announced that his tour is going to be starting on, you know what I'm saying, Super Bowl Sunday. Kendrick said, cool. And I feel the rats that Drake says he sent over, I feel like they still doing their thing, because I'm pretty sure they relayed that information. Like, look, he going to announce that his tour is going to start the same day as the Super Bowl. All right, cool. I'm going to announce my tour well before the Super Bowl, stadium tour, something you ain't never did. And I'm going to do a stadium in your city that you've never done on Father's Day, the week of Father's Day.
I just found out about that yesterday. I just found out that it was a place
Nuts.
he's never done. That's
never.
Nuts.
Drake has never done a stadium tour in general. He's never done a stadium in general. And I had this conversation with somebody before, like, go look on his Wikipedia. They have a list of his Wikipedia shows. None of them are stadiums. So now this is going to take away the argument of, oh, well, look at it was all a Blur tour, the biggest concert tour in history. Now Kendrick's about to go on a stadium tour. If you're going to tell me that Kendrick stadium tour isn't going to be bigger than it was all a Blur tour, then that's probably the last argument that they'll have. But other than that, I say all that to say Kendrick did Drake better than Drake with what they constitute as a win. Mm-hmm. And he also barred him up. So it's just annoying that y'all, it's just refusal to see it. Now it's like, oh no, the lawsuit has nothing to do with it. Come on, bro. Can you imagine if Drake sued Pusha T for saying you are hiding a child, for an invasion of privacy or something? If Drake had sued Pusha T for you are hiding a child, this wouldn't be the conversation. Y'all be like, no, he should, because that should have been up to Drake when he put that information. Nah, y'all can't keep moving the goalposts.
That's what it is. It's moving the goalposts based off of extreme and excessive fandom. That's exactly what it is.
It's nuts, bro. Like, you know, I'm definitely not big on politics, but you see the same thing from the Trump squad as well. But like, it's just a lot, you know what I'm saying? And it takes away from the enjoyment of it. But I never miss a chance to be petty, because if we're gonna talk numbers, cool, let's talk numbers. And because he's killing your boy there too.
Yeah, he is, and it's odd. And I'm gonna bring that up right now. That kind of freaked me out, because I don't know if it's preliminary Spotify rap just got released, but Spotify rap just got released. And when you look at the countries of where Not Like Us is played, the states of where Not Like Us is played in areas that's not, it's kind of jarring. And I actually want to get to that real quick right now, because I looked at it before I got on stream and I was like, nah, this can't be true. Nah, this cannot be true. Look at this. Boom. Rap Map top song streamed around the world 2024. So let's go to America. So let's go to Toronto. This is Canada, right? Quebec. Beautiful Things, a bar song, Lose Control, Teddy Swims is bomb. All right, next. Montreal, Lose Control, Shabuzi, da-da-da-da. Okay. Ottawa, No Not Like Us. Jack Harlow getting, well, I'll leave that alone. Espresso,
it's Ottawa.
Shabuzi, yeah, right? Billie Eilish. All the way over here, Vancouver. All right, now let's start in America. Not Like Us, New York, of course. Charlotte, Not Like Us. Asheville, of course, they ain't gonna be like us. Like
nah, not at all.
Atlanta, Not Like Us. Nashville, no, we know. St. Louis, oddly not. Chicago, Not Like Us. Detroit, Not Like Us. Milwaukee, Not Like Us. Minneapolis, no, Not Like Us. This is for the year, mind you. Kansas City, Not Like Us. Denver, no, Not Like Us. Phoenix, Not Like Us. Houston, Not Like Us. Hey, Jay Prince, that kind of might worry you on a radio station.
Man, just a little bit.
New Orleans, Not Like Us. Mexico, Monterey, none. Guadalajara, of course not. Madonna's still popping in Guadalajara?
I was about to say, Madonna's up, huh?
Still popping in Guadalajara?
One thing I find interesting with the list is with you going over to Detroit, with that being just pretty much a hop skip over from Canada. I'm surprised Not Like Us is charting, especially I think it's at number 1 at that.
It's at number 1. Think about that. Denver, oddly, I didn't surprise it. Phoenix, of course the West.
Oh yeah, you ain't got to click over here.
Yeah, I don't know if to click over. Let me just see. So, of course, let me go up. Northern Portland. Oh no, not like us. What's it? Is not like us. 3, and Seattle, not like us. So everywhere with the exception of Asheville. Was it? No, Charlotte, Asheville,
and
Nashville.
A lot of the southern states don't even really bang with West Coast music that rough. So that actually doesn't surprise me.
Most of the states don't bang with West Coast music, and we can bring up that topic right the freak now.
Well,
My other homeboy from Vegas. Host, you know what I'm saying, of a Lace Rhymes podcasting show. We talk about this all the time, and he says, "Oh, gee, you know," because everybody, I'm old, I'm in my 40s, don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'd be like, "Oh, gee, I don't understand." I said, "Brother, I'm 40 years old. I was here when Snoop and Dre appeared. I was here when NWA first came out. I was here when Ice-T first came out. I will remember the West Coast bias has been baked in the cake in hip hop." And in other selection forms of music since the beginning, fam. Since 6 in the morning. Real talk. The West Coast bias has been baked in the cake, and people are still in denial. Because technically, when it comes to this whole Drake and Kendrick thing, my mindset is there is West Coast racism, if I ever call prejudice, whatever word. West Coast, we don't like the West Coast. That's what the nation has always said for generations. And now that Kendrick forced the door open with talent, forced the door open with artistic lanes, forced the door open in so many angles, they have to accept the West, but then you still see the preliminary recesses of people trying to block the West. And what I'm hoping happens, that Kendrick's introduction to the world of Peso, to the world of Lefty, to the world of Hitter J3, and to the world of everybody, have the Cuzzos come out and tour. I would like if the Pop Out is part of that tour. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
I would love that. I would love, because you know why? Being a New Yorker, when New York was running things, we liked that there were different personalities that described the culture of New York. The thing I'm loving about this West Coast domination run right now, I think it's the second coming since the 90s, or late 80s, 90s, is that I want to see more personalities describing a region I never grew up in, that I'm not familiar with, that has cool different styles and cool different techniques. Like
Absolutely.
My top 5 favorite producers of all time, Battle Cat. I'm pissed that people don't talk about Quick the way they need to talk about Quick.
Oh, yeah,
you know
100%.
Superfly. Do you understand what I'm saying? Johnny J. You know what I'm saying? People don't know. Like, who's that? Who's that? Bro, do your research, fam.
Do your Googles. We say it all the time. Do your Googles.
Do your Googles.
They literally have a Wikipedia that you can put in XYZ production discography, and you can see what they made.
AI.
Or use AI.
See if you're an imbecile. If you're a straight, I don't want to search imbecile, use AI. Just use
I'm telling
AI.
you. One thing that we do that I've always been proud of with our show 20 for 20 is we have a category breakdown. And my bad, this became a shameless plug real quick. we have a category breakdown, and one of the categories, one of the rounds is the producer round. And we would be throwing out producers' names, and you see the same thing in the comments. Who is that? Like, we know y'all gonna ask who is that. We get it. Just watch the show. You're gonna see who it is. And then you find out these characters that look like they should be in accounting or look like a third grade teacher that made some of the classes. Like, we just last Saturday, our producer round was Mike Dean. When you look at Mike Dean, again, he looks like somebody from accounting. He looks like Kyle from accounting. But the bag that he has, from Kanye to Beyonce, you know what I'm saying, going back with 2 Scarface classics with Fuck Faces and Smile, you know what I'm saying? Like, Mike Dean has a bag, and people would never know that because a lot of people don't associate the producer. The only association that the producer gets is, oh, that beat hard as hell. But you're not gonna really look into, like, whose bag is this? Like, when you even look at Quick done produced some things that I was like, yo, I didn't even realize that Quick did that.
Bro, I still, my daughter is 9 years old, and she has heard tonight a ridiculous amount of times.
That's about the right age.
My daughter is 9 years old, and she listens to what I think is one of the best unsung R&B albums ever. Was Raphael Sadiq's first album, Instant Vintage, featuring
absolutely.
Let's Get Down with DJ Quick.
Absolutely.
Nothing beats those drums. Nothing beats that bass line. Quick's claps, snares crack, and his claps crack. And every song, every track is so clear. Even
right.
Like, everything is clear. Everything. New producers, like the dude that works with LaRussell, Tope. He's
yeah.
fire. Like, Tote
Right.
is ridiculous. Again, everybody, this is the KaleafWins live stream. Guess what? Anything can happen. We talking hip-hop. If you're a hip-hop fan, there's 2 people supposedly looking in the live stream, and the people that are watching the replay, put in the comments about how you feeling about what we talk about. Don't be a spectator. Be an engager. And put your comments.
I'm saying? Join the conversation.
All trolls, please. I'm telling you now, trolls. I make trolls a movie. This special segment, I make you a movie. Unless you have a profile that's just a dummy bot profile, I'm not gonna talk to you. But if you're a person, if you violate, you're gonna get violated. You heard?
Real quick.
You gonna get. But real quick, since we're in this Drake topic, and again talk about moving the goalposts and this evasion. Listen, everybody watching this, if you have a friend who's an absolute. Because, again, we're all Drake fans musically. That's a fact. After this lawsuit, the New York in me is like, that's some whole shit. I'm not going to respect you to a particular degree. But that's just my personal preference. But if he creates a bop, he creates a bop. If you have a Drake fan in denial, right? Let me just extend the screen. All hip-hop fans, if you have a Drake fan in absolute denial, thinking that he won the battle, thinking that he's justified in his lawsuit, do them this favor. Don't argue. Just say, hey, let's just discuss the paperwork. Let's go to the paperwork. Don't argue with your Drake fan friends. Let's just discuss the paperwork.
It don't need to be subjective.
Let's start
It don't
here.
need to be subjective.
On the second petition, does everybody see the second petition? Does everybody see it? We're going to do this. Number 1, it's from Aubrey Drake Graham, the petitioner, requesting depositions, meaning information from iHeartMedia and UMG recordings. If you have Drake fans and they're saying, oh, he's justified and this has nothing to do with Kendrick, let's read the first verification of petition and the reason, the thesis statement as to why he did the second petition as follows. Petitioner Aubrey Drake Graham requests an order authorized under Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 202 to take pre-suit deposition of the corporate representative iHeartMedia. And in layman's term, hey, we just going to depose and get some information out of you directly to iHeartMedia and directly to UMG. Let's move further. It says UMG, for which petitioner respectfully shows as follows. Pursuant to Texas R. Civil 1994, petitioner requests a discovery be conducted under Level 3 Discovery Control Plan. If you got friends like mine or family like mine who've been in the prison system, discovery is basically gathering information. And this information in the factual background section is the reason of the petition. This is to all, again, if I lose you, let me catch you real quick. For all the people
Let me
that
get
are
you
saying
right.
this has nothing to do with Kendrick and he just did it, because of UMG to fight for artists' rights. The reason that he put this factual background area right here, I'll highlight it. The factual, well, I can't because it's a PDF. Well, there it is. Factual background shows why he did this petition. It's part 1. Respondent UMG is part of a handful of companies that dominate the million-dollar industry. When it comes to the release of new music by its prominent artists, UMG is meticulous in planning and execution of releases. That is true, not just because of the amount of money online. Let's move forward. Early this year, one of the artists under contract at UMG did a song called Not Like Us. Before it approved the release of the song, UMG knew that the song itself, as well as the accompanying art and music video, attacked the character of another prominent artist, Drake, by falsely accusing him of being an SO and engaging in PX, quote, quote, quote. That's the third point, was using the premise that Not Like Us is about it. The fourth point, Not Like Us. The fifth point, Not Like Us. The sixth point, iHeartMedia, both of those, iHeartMedia, but not like us.
Can I jump in real quick, Fred? And this is kind of touching on what you were saying earlier about Drake being called out as a PDF file. That same company put out a record where you're calling someone an abuser. We saw Ray Rice lose his career. Mm-hmm. We saw what's my man's name from Scandal?
I know you're talking about the black
Stomp the
dude.
Yard. Yeah.
Yeah, him.
We watched him.
I call him a pre-Nate Jackson.
Right.
That was a Nate Jackson shot.
So early Nate Jackson, we saw him lose his career. We saw Nate. I'm about to call him. Jonathan Major. We saw him lose his career. We saw Nate Turner lose his career.
Those all three kind of look like they could be siblings. That's
crazy. Yeah, with the 1920s face, like the straight out of Prohibition. But yeah, like when you go off of these Prohibition era actors, they all lost their careers because of DV. So and not only that, you in that same record, you poke fun at of Kendrick allegedly being SA'd as a child. So, and that was put out under UMG. So ultimately, you're telling us Kendrick has a case against you as well, because just as much as you had to lose, so did Kendrick. Because DV done got niggas up out of here fast. I know it's not as prominent in the music industry, depending on how it is. We saw that was the match that lit the fuse for Diddy. Actually seeing what happened to Cassie, but if your issue is being called a PDF file and your label put that out, Kendrick has just as much of an issue as you do, because you called him an abuser, and they put that out, and they put the same kind of time into it. The only difference is Kendrick had the better record. All of that was UMG.
And that's the argument I'm saying. So for all the Drake delusion, so if you have Drake delusional friends that are fans or family members that are fans that are in delusion, if you remove the word in the song "Not Like Us" from both of these petitions, the petition would be meritless based on nothing. Both petitions are based on the Kendrick song being that hot. And that's why I tell people, like we say when it comes to the street, if somebody calls somebody a snitch in any hood, that's a serious offense. And what do we say in response? Let me see the paperwork.
Yep.
If that's the cure-all for anybody who don't get into arguments regarding Drake and Kendrick. Sit with them and look at the paperwork. If they're still saying that Drake is justified in his behavior, listen to what Los just said. That right there. Kendrick can do the same thing. Second thing I'll say, if you blot out the words "Not Like Us" and Kendrick Lamar from each petition, the petition will be meritless. That's 100%. It. That was the whole goal of this. Not the whole stream. We just having fun in stream, talking, shooting the crap. But for the two people that's watching right now, say what's up. You look weird just watching. I just want to say hello to you. You just look weird. I see the number 2. Whoever's going to be in replay, come in the replay and let's talk. If any Drake fans, I'm telling you right now, if you come in to argue, I will make a movie out of you. Or if you feel enthused, I'll set up a live stream. I'll have all Drake fans, and we will read the paperwork together. It will be an absolute waste of my time, but it'll hit my watch hour number. So let's just go.
Everything is content.
Almost everything is content. I'll say this to get off this issue real quick. Number one, my wife says something. She doesn't listen to hip hop like I do and stuff like that. She says, "You know what this is?" I said, "What?" "This ain't nothing but a light skin versus dark skin thing." And I said, "What do you mean?" And then she says, "You remember School Days? The whole premise of School Days was light skin elitism versus dark skin struggle. This is playing out in hip hop.
We're watching it happen.
We're watching it happen. And again, for those people who were not born in the black experience, who are not black, let me explain this to you. Should I be real HBCU energy, or should I just keep it to Cliff Notes? All right, let me do the Cliff Notes.
I was about to say, I mean, bro, we both got our degrees, so you feel me? You might as well from the same spot. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Wilberforce University.
Got a degree. Listen, there's a difference between content creators who are just talking and people who are degreed and trained in these conversations. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I had somebody on TikTok say yesterday, "Man, you don't know anything. You ain't no expert." Number one, I'm in my 40s. I've been listening to hip hop since 1980. You can't tell me nothing. That's one.
Right.
And number two, I'm from New York. No offense. If you're from New York or California, we have every experience and reason to talk about this. If you're from the West or the East, you have every experience talking about this. And number 3, if you've gone to a historically black college and university, and now again, we understand that light-skinned blacks were put against dark-skinned blacks in different scenarios. I'm giving the Cliff Note version. In different scenarios and time frames that pit themselves against each other once they reach a level of success, because it's divide and conquer strategy. We'll move forward on that, move forward on everything. So I do want to get up the Drake and Kendrick issue, but before I do, I always like to study media, and I would encourage everybody watching this, anytime a scandal happens, shout out Big Papa Pope, my favorite character in television. You always have to do this. This is a quick exercise for everybody who doesn't know this. Look at the news. Go to Google, type in the topic, look at all the news, and you're going to see the narratives play out. What do I mean? Let me give you an example of the narratives playing out. Number 1, TMZ. Look at them stoking the fire. Drake trolling Mustard and Kendrick with Custard. I don't know if you heard about this. You heard about this happening?
I didn't. No.
He went on a live streamer, a big Drake fan live streamer, and put Custard in the chat and trolling in the chat. But I'll show you what whatchamacallit said. Where is there it is. Drake aimed a couple jabs at Mustard on a live chat last night, turning Kendrick Lamar's viral shout out a new collab totally against him. again, the narrative play out. Whoever writes the articles creates the narrative. YouTuber Lost Poyos TV was ranting about Kendrick's #1 record, Squad Boy, being a, quote, terrible follow-up to Drake's Certified Lover Boy album. Drake wasted no time and hopped in the chat and threw shots at Mustard's weight, typing custard, and then adding another zinger, we need a donut emoji in the chat. That fatty jokes were a flip on Kendrick lyrics from his new hit song TV Off, where he screams mustard. Los Poyos didn't miss a beat either. He posted Drake's comment for the world to see. The streamer has proven to be an ally for the boy throughout his beef with Kendrick and Mustard. Now, everybody, always read the conclusion of an article. Mustard recently trolled Drake about Tyler Creators and Tyler Creators like that song. Custard versus Mustard. Now it's a food fight. The reason I'm showing this is because when something happens, media controls the narrative and how people think. This is media training, ladies and gentlemen. Watch what you consume, but then study what the narratives are, and then read the facts and let it come to your personal decision, whether it's Drake and Kendrick, whether it's politics, which I don't like to talk about on my channel because that's a never-ending cycle of people just falling in line, or whether it's anything else. Learn how to, listen, everybody, Google, how can I think subjectively and objectively? That's the difference between people live stream. You ever watch the live stream, ladies and gentlemen? And it's all opinion one side. And then anytime they try to pull a fact up, well, I saw it in the article. Great. Where was the article sourced? And then, but my friend said, but this artist says, people learn how to think for yourself, fam. I don't understand why people don't even know how to think for themselves. And I'm not even on my third cup of coffee right now. I'm just tight right now. I'm going to get a cup of coffee after this. But real talk, I'm going to let you chime in on this, and I'm going to transition to another topic. What do you want to do to close off this subject?
Just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying on both ends, as far as like controlling the narrative and really that light skin, dark skin battle. That's like one of the things that's pinned them two against each other. And I think that's also because you've never seen J. Cole versus Drake. It was always J. Cole versus Kendrick, who's better, Kendrick versus Drake, who's bigger. It's never been the two going at it, which I've always found interesting. And I guess to kind of also introduce another gripe, what grinds my gears, is the fact that we're still having these kind of conversations as if we both ain't getting killed, as if we both ain't losing jobs, as if we both ain't going through the same experiences as black people. I think in the last 4 years, since, again, going back to him, since Trump has been out of office, I've seen the most togetherness, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to light skin and dark skin people. And unfortunately not because, okay, this is what we're choosing to do, is because you're now seeing it doesn't matter, you know, so which side that you swing on, which, you know, how much melanin that you got. At the end of the day, you're just seen as one type of person. We're seeing it with people who are mixed with white and really kind of chose a side in life, and then they'll find out later, oh, I'm still considered black. But anyway, also in regards to just, you know, looking at the paperwork and the algorithms and everything like that, with how Drake was trying to, you know, control the narrative and going custard. I'll also say, to your point, I was a Drake fan, and the only reason I say was is because there hasn't been anything he's put out since, for me, Scorpion? Take Care, that I was like, you know, okay. Like I'm a rock with, so I can say that I was, but I'll still bump his old stuff. But I'm definitely not the type to be like, oh, Drake makes trash music or anything like that. Just what he makes now isn't for me. He makes what's considered playlist music, and you know what I'm saying, with, you know, you being 40, I'm 35, we come from an era of, it wasn't playlist music, it was cohesive albums. Mm-hmm. You didn't put out albums to pick and choose to throw something on a playlist. That's why all these things go off for streams now. You put on an album to press play and then go from there. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I give a lot to New York, but that's definitely one thing I give to New York artists, you know, even fast forward to now, you know, with Benny, you know what I'm saying? With a lot of the artists coming out of New York, like, it's always a cohesive album that you can't really just listen to this one record. You got to hear the full story. And Drake stopped making story music and just kind of wanted to cater to the algorithm. So from that point, you're controlling it there. He's doing, and on the other point, the social algorithm now, he's trying to get his way back up in there by, you know, taking what's being done and being like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to attach myself to it and I'm going to make it mine, like the whole BBL Drizzy situation. Oh, yeah, they call me BBL Drizzy because they call me to get BBLs. Like, weird flex, but okay. And then now.
You know what's crazy? How fast that song came and went, Paul. And think about that. The song didn't stick, which was surprising to me. And it was with Sexy Red. It didn't stick at all. But go ahead, continue.
And I think it didn't stick because right now, the best way to put it, right now, Drake got the cooties. It's not.
Yes,
he's not like right now. It's almost not cool. You know what I'm saying? Because of what he's doing. But that's one of the rare moments when hip hop culture, transcends pop culture. And right now, and as it's always been cool to be black. It's always been cool to be hip. And when hip hop controls the narrative in culture, you see a lot of it. Like look at how sea walking has become choreography now.
Well, but to Snoop's credit, Snoop and WC, like 20 years ago, had people.
Oh, 100%. No, absolutely.
Remember that? Like they were trying to do the 106 in Park.
Absolutely, and using those exact examples. When Snoop and Dub C, you know what I'm saying, and if you go into Blood Walking and Damu Step and everything, like with Quick would get up, like that's always been a part of the culture. It's always been a part of the culture. However, it was definitely one of those. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. It's a little scary. And then you see Bow Wow do it, and this nigga from Columbus ain't banging nobody's set. And it's like, okay, it may be getting there now. Do you see Exhibit do it? And I'm not 100% sure if Exhibit is affiliated. I got to double check on that. But still,
he said from Columbus. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like all these people started doing it, and now it's to the
Ohio,
point.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm laughing super hard. We lived there for like 4 years of our life. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was rough. Listen, but
for a multitude of reasons. Go ahead.
But like you look at it now to the point that sea walking is choreography. Sea walking is, has been a part of it was a terrible TikTok trend for a little bit, but it was a TikTok trend for a little bit. But now we're seeing a lot of, actual choreo. Like to see the Super Bowl have sea walking choreography, it was nuts. To see that in the Not Like Us video was nuts. It's all kind of connected to Kendrick, but I'm trying to get off of that part. But I say all that to say, right now, Drake doesn't have the Midas touch, as he used to call it. Right now, he's, you're not guaranteed a hit if he jumps on it. Like when he put out 100 gigs, that was supposed to be, I stay making music. I stay busy, yada, yada. You put out 100 gigs of music and nobody has picked from it to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rock with this going forward. Like I haven't heard at least.
Video footage. Ladies and gentlemen, artists, I'm gonna say this, talk to artists. This is my social media hat coming on. As a social media manager and strategist, don't do 100 gigs. You know why? Because everybody's attention span is as quick as Monday and Tuesday. We forgot what happened.
Yeah, birds.
Spread out your content. That's like me telling Los, hey, Los like, oh, I got 100 gigs of show. I'm just going to drop on the internet. What? They're going to forget by tomorrow.
Long time.
And that I want you to close off your point before I get to another point, but go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, that's really it. Like you see with, him trying to take mustard and do custard and make the fat jokes and everything.
That's corny. It's
and it's super corny. It's super cringe. And then it's also, it's more goalpost moving because that dedicated Drake following that's going to find comedy and humor in that are also the same niggas that's going to be like, oh, you're cyberbullying me. Oh, you're fat shaming. You're this, that, and third. But when he does it, it's like, well, that's different. He's just defending himself. Like, all right, bro.
This will be the last thing I'll say in the issue because there's another area I want to transition to, and I want to be respectful of your time. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Absolutely.
Number one, thanks for being on the show. The show is not ending. I'm just putting that interlude out. This last thing, I saw an interview with Torrey and Stephen A. Smith talking about the issue, and I think Torrey has the best answer for the effect that this has on Drake's career. He says Drake's career will not be over, but it's another level of brand erosion away from what people felt, thought, and viewed about Drake. And ladies and gentlemen, a brand erosion is this. When I was in Chicago 2002, 3-ish for a law school program. True story. Why was that? Wilberforce University, greatest university in the world. You feel
100.
me? Ask your mother and your grandmother. They would know. You know what I'm saying? So, and I remember when the P tape dropped. I remember living in Chicago, people saw it, and it's like, nah, but that's still R. Kelly. Then he dropped I Wish, I Believe I Can Fly around that time, and people just forgot. Then the rumors started going out. Then Surviving R. Kelly happened. when that episode dropped, the pre-launch for that series had an eroding effect. Then R. Kelly did the interview with Gayle King, eroding effect. Then the documentary dropped, chipping away, till it came to a large consensus of individuals saying, you know what, put him under the jail. And there was no defense. Let's go to Diddy now. Diddy, rumor. Cassie got a bag. People like, oh, it must be true. Nothing eroded until the video of the hotel lobby. Eroded. And then him getting locked up. Erosion. Then people, again, and let's talk to content creators. I think everybody, content creation, should learn a lesson. Everybody that does content creation should learn a lesson from the R. Kelly situation, from the Diddy situation, from the Drake versus Kendrick situation. What is your brand built upon? You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that. Is 100. It built upon just followers, likes, and how many views? Or is it built upon a brand trusted personality that people will defend? That's what we can learn from this Drake situation. Let's flip it. I can easily say, oh, your Drake fans is delusional. You're saying he's won. But from a brand perspective, I have a brand. Los has an entire network of media. You know what I'm saying? At the Beat Network, Future Beat Media, the Beat Network. He has a network of shows that has built trust with his viewership. You have to admire Drake that he has created such a level of trust with women, such a level of trust with people of other colors, such a level of trust with hits and catchy stuff that I'm a DJ. They'll still play Drake in the club up until the PDF file document stuff comes out, then that'll shut it down.
Right.
When those receipts come out, he took a hip-hop L, but every DJ is going to play Drake in the club. I don't care who you are. They are. Until that nasty information, if it drops, we're still going to play it in the club. But Drake has a full brand trust.
He's still a good look.
He's still a good look. So I'm talking to all content creators right here. Spotify Rap just dropped, and I want content creators, especially podcasters or people that do media network, to pay attention to the current winners of people really caking and doing their thing with Spotify Rap right now, and look at the change makers in the podcast space. So the top podcasts globally are the Joe Rogan Experience, Call Her Daddy. Big shout to Call Her Daddy. If anybody knows the Call Her Daddy show, it was literally a two-woman show. They got into situations with negotiations. One of the young ladies left. The other young lady has held down the fort on a podcast, and she's a multi-millionaire enterprise. You always got to respect people that are handling business. So again, this conversation is for the content creators and for the podcasters. Joe Rogan Experience, Call Her Daddy, Huberman Lab, never heard of it. Passed this weekend with Theo Von. Theo Von is hilarious. Congrats for being this high up in the list. 5, Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. 6, Serial Killers. 7, Relatos de las Noches. I know my abuela in heaven's in a shame at my trash Spanish. Crime Junkie. You know, crime and the Serial Killers one. Anything crime related on podcast wins. 9, Café Dom de Espía, I'm sorry. And 10, El Podcast de Marín Rojas Escapte. I'm sucking at Spanish. I'm such a New Yorican. The point is, to any content creators, look at this list and ask yourself, y'all know how much money these podcasts are making if they're the top 10 podcasts. Not locally, but what? Globally. Markets. Full markets, meaning full fan bases, meaning full people subscribing monthly, meaning these people are racking up monthly. Now, we're not here to pocket watch. We're here to say, content creators, anytime your family member or friend saying, oh, you got a little YouTube show? You got a little podcast and ain't working? You've been doing it for 5 years? Last I checked, Tyler Perry slept in his car for 5 years, and this man done bought like old slave ranches, you know what I'm saying, and turned into movie studios.
Right, he said, we taking that back.
How do you feel about this podcast globally list? And what's your thoughts on it as a network owner? Because you talk from a different place. You actually own a digital network. Talk to the people.
As far as the list, to your point, I'm not familiar with a good chunk of them. But I'm also not surprised because we can't be, sensitive to other networks, to other markets. So we're gonna see things bubble from, from all over the place. Mm-hmm. Secondly, that also shows you the power of social media. The power of hashtags, the power of algorithms. And you and I were just having this conversation just off of, before we got on the mic, that once you catch that algorithm, you hit them with a solid clip, something that's going to work, and you develop that that brand
Trust.
that brand trust, that brand awareness. People are going to now seek, okay, well, let me see more from, let me see if you do other things that I enjoy. And you eventually out of nowhere, because to be honest with you, the whole content consumption is really done secondhandedly. It's done unconsciously, because it's like, okay, I like this, I'm gonna go try to lock in with this. Okay, I like this, so I'm gonna lock in with this. You'll turn around and just now I'm subscribed to all of his channels. I'm following all of his socials and everything like that. So it's like it's almost it's a secondhanded unconsciousness that these people do, but it's about creating those moments that are going to create, you know what I'm saying, the following that's going to create, you know, the people that are actually going to, you know, lock in with you. You know, with what I've been doing, I've been doing this since 2016. Of course, I
start there. Hold on, because I want you to expound on this.
Got you.
You have a content creator. You have two people sitting in front of you, and I want you to speak directly to them, because you're about to get to that point right now. Especially speaking from you starting this in 2016, and you're hitting almost up to your 10-year mark. Everybody give a big up to that.
Appreciate you.
2 years is 10-year mark. You know what I'm saying? I want to give you the floor, and you have two people in front of me that you're talking to. Number one, a person, like we talked about earlier off street, we're not going to bring names. I'm not. A person who doubts the seriousness of a content creator actually making a living off of this. And then the second person, an aspiring content creator who really wants to know what the real day-to-day is. I'm giving you the floor. Speak to them real.
Got you. So it definitely becomes one of those things that if you aren't committed to what you're doing, then there's no point of even trying to remotely jump in to this kind of a field, because it's a field that unfortunately you are going to see. I'm bad with words sometimes, but this is one of those times. You're going to see more failure than you are going to see success in the beginning. And then out of nowhere, you're just going to start to cook. Content creation has been a field of luck of the draw. It's definitely a lot of who you know as well, because people are going to plug whoever they want to plug, but it's definitely been a luck of a draw situation. One viral post can make you a viral sensation. One, you know, heavily interacted story or reel, you know, is going to draw people to your actual content. It's going to draw people to the things that you create, because at the end of the day, you're creating things for others. You know, you're taking, I think every content creator has at one point have been told, oh, you're so funny. Oh, you're entertaining. Oh, you should do this, that, and the third. And they're taking those pats on the back and they're doing something with it. But if you're not committed to it, that's a completely different situation. I've seen so many people after I started doing podcasts back in 2016. I've seen so many people start all kind of shows. Oh, we're going to do this. And definitely not no slight at them whatsoever. I've seen them, oh, we're going to do this, and not even have like a really good rollout, like just actually just do it. And then they'll get the support from, you know, people that, you know, that we may have known within the same circles, and they'll get that support, but then they'll be done 2 or 3 months. Some people 2 or 3 episodes, because it's a different level of commitment that you got to build on. Once you have built upon that commitment, then it's about your strategies going forward. It's about how do you connect with these different people. Back when Beat was probably at its best, traveling, doing media shows and getting paid for the podcast and for the streams and everything like that, that was one of those things to where I had to put in time. I had to put in work. I had to have hard conversations with people that I had genuine love, you know what I'm saying, for. And we had to see how that growth was going to make things really shake. And once it started to shake, there was no looking back. I mean, at one point there was a sponsorship from Amazon for Audible. We were, you know, like I said, just getting paid just from the streams, getting paid just from what people were following on the actual podcast themselves. The general conversation, the clicks on the website, everything was just flowing. And, you know, one conversation that me and Khalif had off camera, you know, is people, the support that you'll get from people 9 times out of 10 are folks that you've never met. 9 times out of 10 are folks you may have had a conversation through social media and never actually sat in a room with them. You're not going to get a lot of that support from people that you came up with. And it's a little weird, but it's just one of those things that you just got to, another way to put it, sucks. But you kind of got to really push past that and just continue to make the content and do the things that have gotten you to the, you know what I'm saying, to the point that you wanted to get to. I was, it felt like I was doing everything just kind of under the radar with people that I came up with. And I had to look at analytics to really feel better about myself. When I was doing my podcast every week with me and my old co-host, shout out to Hollywood Kev. When I was doing my podcast, I live in Vegas. I live in Vegas. I was raised in Vegas. Went to school in Ohio. Did 4.5 years in Ohio.
We did bid.
You know what I'm saying? Did a whole bid. You feel me? Joined fraternities. Did all these different things. And my number one market, funny enough, when I was doing my podcast, was New York. I know 3 of y'all in New York. But we were getting the, you know what I'm saying? We started off getting just the 50 and 60s and then went into the 200, 300, and to the point where the podcast was doing about 6,500 an episode. And our number one market was New York for so long. Our number 2 market was London. What? So I didn't have to see the grounds that, you know what I'm saying, that I stomped on to know that I was doing well. And then we parlayed that into doing all the media events. Same person we were talking about off stream. I remember going out to New York and doing NY Comic Con. And I remember going out to Atlanta to do the Revolt Summit. And they had that one so jacked up that they invited us to do the LA Summit. And that's when we really started cooking. We got the interview with Angela Rye. We got the interview with Killer Mike. We got an interview with Jake Paul where he announced he was going to start going into boxing. We got an interview with Spectacular where he announced he was going to do a Spectacular Summit and he ended up using our video as part of promo. So it's like you'll see the successes. It's just the commitment has to match it. And if and once the commitment match, you'll learn this is what my viewers like to see. This is what my listeners like to hear. And then you'll develop that content. And once you find that bubble, it's up from there. I tell people all the time, if you can get paid for being you, it's the easiest check you'll make. It's the easiest check you'll make.
I just posted it on YouTube. I said nobody wants to see any more manufactured personalities, any perfect scenarios, because life isn't a perfect scenario.
At all.
And I'm glad that you shared that tidbit. And for everybody watching right now, yes, we're in a KaleafWins live stream. I'm here with network owner, with multiple hosts of multiple shows and seasoned content producer. I don't look at him like a podcaster. I don't look at him as this. He's a producer, a media producer. Again, that's the problem. People don't take content creators or content producers seriously. People don't take, listen, in real life, if you and I can say, you know what, let's go to London. You're about to sell out a show, 1,000-seater. Hard sell tickets. People be like, oh my God, I didn't know. Yes, you did, because when you saw it on the internet, you devalued it by, you thought, oh, everybody can do this.
Everybody's doing it.
But what he explained is market dominance in particular areas and fans that are reoccurring fans. Let me break this down one more again. I'm gonna break this down one more again. This is from Spotify Rap, mind you. They said, and this is how they came up with their summation of what was great. In a world of podcasts, we've seen the growth of incredible fandoms across sports, comedy, and true crime in 2024. In fact, more than 500 million people have listened to a podcast on Spotify since we entered the space in 2019. And with more than 300,000 video podcasts soaring on Spotify and markets where they're available, we saw fans enjoy the new diversified way they consume content over the year. It has been a year since we launched audiobooks in premium, now available in US, Canada, UK, Australia, and all those other locations. And we've seen both releases of back catalog titles from notable authors across every genre on Spotify to mark the milestone. Listen, everybody, never in your life look down on content producers. Never in your life look down on media owners like Los itself. And again, before I move any further, everybody go follow the Beaten Network on all platforms. It ain't hard to like, share, subscribe. It ain't hard to send a donation. Listen, I have this new campaign that I'm starting. Anytime I got another creator on, or just in general, give your favorite content creator $25 Cash App. Just to support the movement. You can start with mine. You know what I'm saying? Los can shout out his Beaten Network Cash App as well. Mine's is $ KaleafWins. If you love my content, shoot me a $25 Cash App. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're enjoying the content. You're viewing the content. If you go to a movie, you're going to pay $20 anyway. If you go to get some Chinese food in New York, you're going to pay $20 anyway. If you go to just enjoy something, you're going to invest in what you enjoy.
You can't interact with none of them
at all. And you can't walk into any Chinese food shop in New York City and go, let me grab this 4 chicken wings try. Grab back a nub. You're going to get stomped out in the lobby. You're going to get stomped out in the lobby. You know what I'm saying? Let me ask you, I'm glad you touched on one area when in terms on the lack of friends and family not supporting what you're doing. What is that like? Because I have another friend who does media in Vegas. What is the Vegas? Explain the Vegas media market to a New York dude like myself, and it helped me understand the difference in the Vegas and the New York market, other than the obvious location,
absolutely,
geographic, personality. But yeah.
First, I believe you're talking about my boy, my brother, Skeeter Steve. Shout out to RJ.
I love
we used to do a hip hop show called Turn My Mic Up that we are more than likely going to bring back as well next year. Had some real fun with that, but yeah, it's always fun talking hip hop with Steve.
Steve would challenge you, and that's what I like about Steve. He's gonna challenge you right to your face.
And he'll throw out whatever opinion it is that he has, and then I was like, "Now prove me wrong." Yeah. You know what I mean?
And he go, but you mean to tell me?
Right, exactly. Okay, but yeah, the Las Vegas media scene is different. You'll have. First of all, it's everywhere. Everyone in Vegas does something independently, whether it's from media, whether it's in music, whatever the case is. Everybody got their own hustle out here, but it's also a bit of a pack mindset. So you'll have certain media companies that join alongside with each other that will hold all opportunities between each other, but they won't show others how to get it. But then if you get it before them, they'll be the first one in your DMs. Yo, congrats, man. Yeah. So how did you this? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, now we're talking. Now we're having, you know what I'm saying, dialogue in regards to how to elevate. But it's definitely and I hate to say it, and I know a lot of people from Vegas.
I know where you're going.
Every state got it.
Go ahead.
Every state got it, and a lot of especially here in Vegas, a lot of people definitely get what I'm saying, in their ass about it. But it's definitely more of a crabs in the barrel situation here.
Like New York.
A lot of people, I'm telling you, it's all bad. I'm pretty sure it's even crazier in California.
Yeah, it's California and New York and Vegas share that alike because we're heavily trafficked.
Yeah,
cities and states, like it's
lots of transients. Absolutely. Lots. And it just seems like everybody wants to do it on their own, and no one really wants to share what's going to help get to the next level. With me, what I did with Beat Network, I didn't want to go about it that way. I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to make something shake. So like for example, I would have never met Skeeter Steve if it wasn't for our frat brother Skyler, who was cool with who still is cool with Skeeter Steve. And I wanted to start a hip hop show, but I didn't want to just continue to overconsume people with just people from Beat Network. So me and my co-host again, Hollywood Kev, got put on with Skeeter Steve. So he put him on. He represented every show we opened up. It was always Skeeter Steve from the Lace Rhyme podcast. Our boy King Corey, who now does 20 for 20 with us. He comes in. It's King Corey from Over the Top LV. I said that when you come on here, I want you to just be you and your brand, because I want to make sure that if I can get something from this, I don't want to be the only one to, take advantage of whatever comes from this. If this blows up, I want everything exactly.
You're a network owner.
It's in the name.
It's a different mindset.
You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make sure everybody eats, B. You feel me? I want to make sure everybody's good.
Paid in full reference for the unknowledgeable. Because
exactly. You may be a little bit too young if you don't know where that came from. But yeah, like it was. I think my biggest thing, the biggest example to me, when I realized that I did have somewhat of a following in Vegas, is when we did our during the time I was doing my podcast, and me and my co-host, we did a live show called Cognac Conversations. And around this time, this was probably like towards the beginning of it was just really black men versus black women. Well, I mean, that's always been going on. But this was probably when it was really starting to get more cooking in the social media standard. And I wanted to do a show like, okay, so we're saying all of this and everyone's just being, argumentative about it. Now let's actually put ourselves in a room and have a conversation. How do we now fix it? We talk about all day what happens, but let's talk about what do black women need from us as black men to be better. And then let's talk about what us black men, are doing on our end to be better.
Before you move further, sorry, because I want to give people a good idea of why I brought you on this platform and show people, how can I put this to be, I'm just going to be blunt and direct. People have to be more appreciative of network owners because the minds that you have, the intellect that you have, the boss mentality. I hate to use hip hop phrase when it comes to this because it makes it diminutive, but I think you are a great resource in a mogul standpoint versus just a content creator. You have a network. It takes a lot of human management, team management, business management, analytics, assessments, understanding. So for everybody watching, they never heard about the Beat Network. Tell them about the Beat Network. Tell them the shows involved with it so they can get a better idea.
Absolutely. So again, Beat Network, we've been doing this since 2016. We started off as kind of like a predominantly a podcast company, but then we eventually moved on to other forms of content. As of right now, we're only doing one main piece of content, which is our show 20 for 20. It's a music battle show. We do that every Saturday. We're currently in the middle of our season doing our tournament. You can actually tune in this Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. I know it's late, but we're on the West Coast and a lot of cats got to work. But
it's on a Saturday.
Yeah, but it's on a Saturday, which is the other gotcha. But we also we're getting back into the atmosphere of podcasts. We're going to get back into the atmosphere of radio. We were also like the sister organization to another spot that used to be out here called Press Play Vegas, where we used to do radio. Like I said, we're jumping fully back into the content atmosphere, into the journalism atmosphere. And it's just been, trying to touch all bases of entertainment, like whatever you consume, we're trying to be a part of. And that's just, that's what we do, is what we've always been doing.
What made you go from the step of starting a one initial podcast to transitioning to become a full network?
So when I got out of grad school, shout out to Academy of Art University in San Francisco. When I got out of grad school, I was, I even go back when I got out of Wilberforce University, when we got to undergrad. I was getting a lot of no's from different media companies, to the point where I didn't really know what to look for, because it was just I didn't line myself up because I wasn't the best student, so I didn't do like the internships and nothing like that. I was like, I'm just trying to get a degree and get up out of here. So
you didn't do a co-op?
Nope.
How'd you I had to
wait,
get a
correction.
Graduate.
I just realized, no, that was a lie. I did intern with a radio station out here called 88.1. Shout out to Sensei, Janelle Bell. Yes, I did do an internship with 88.1. However, I didn't have the mindset of trying to parlay that into a career. It was just like, okay, let's just do this and go from there. So I think being back home for about 2 years, 2.5 years, I was working at a hotel. And one day I literally just woke up like, bro, I have a whole degree and I'm doing nothing with it. So I said, I'm going to go back to school, quit my job, got rid of my apartment. I was going to take my car with me, but then I got into a crazy accident. But pretty much hit reset, and I went to grad school. In my time in grad school, it was a trade school that became fully accredited as a university. So, but they still were operated like a trade school. So everything we did was hands-on. And I was able to learn proper audio editing, video editing, general content creation, script writing. Like, I've really got to dial in something crazy. So when it finally came time to go, I was running into the same situations. Just a bunch of no's, or you don't have the experience, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, I'm going to remove the middleman. I can post stuff on YouTube. I can use all this stuff as like a content reel, as a resume reel somewhere down the line. And I'm just going to do it myself. So I came back. We started doing album reviews, movie reviews, podcasts. And it just seemed like everything I wanted to promote myself as a creator and as an editor, we did. And probably like 2 months in, I realized I have 7 shows. and they're all cooking on their own. So I said, okay, bet. I'm just going to do it from here. And then I started taking it super seriously and just created more shows, met some new people. Definitely shout out to Lex Love and Truth. Shout out to Tavon Greatness Patterson out here. Shout out to KC. You know what I'm saying? All these people that we worked with. Shout out to my brother Jay Alonzo, Isaiah. Like all these dope people that I just started out with. David Neff. I mean, a lot of things would have happened with Beef with my boy Dave. Skylar, of course. We started cooking. Everything was just building. And then we transitioned that into live events. Again, we did our show, Cognac Conversations, a live podcast. The first time I really realized I had a following here in Vegas. People even drove up from LA for the show. Stop and say, oh, yeah, we came all the way from California for the show. I was like, oh, really? And that's when me and my co-hosts, we looked at each other and said, yo, we got something. And we just kept going from there. Then we've done live shows with 20 for 20. One hope is that we can get 20 for 20 to a place that we can go on tour with it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's been, like I was saying earlier, that commitment and that consistency to know that I got something good, I got something right, continue to expound on it. It's gotten to the point when I would jump into these interviews with these major networks, I would just say straight up, I did all of this on my own. I got these interviews with these people on my own. I do this editing on my own. I do the production, the visuals. Everything you see is done by myself. Imagine what I can do with a machine behind me. And then you get the BS, we still want you to have the, in production, experience. All right, whatever. I'm just going to continue doing it on my own. Because I've seen money from this. I see money from this. I do everything that, needs to be done. I'm trying to tackle all of the new incoming things that I may not have, expanded into just yet, but I'm going to do that. And I'm going to try to be great at it as well. But the long-winded way of answering your question, I got tired of
people don't know on my platform. People just don't know. They was like, "Oh,
right.
We brought somebody up to shoot the ish." No,
right, and I appreciate network. Absolutely, and I appreciate y'all. I'm saying y'all welcome me in. I'm saying to the Kaleaf family. The long-winded answer short, I got tired of being told that they're not going to take an opportunity on me. So I'm like, I'm just going to create my opportunities. And was able to, like you said, make it cook for almost 10 years now. Lots of up and downs, but, definitely focusing on the ups and how to create more ups and continue to make this, as great as it's been. And,
leveraging it to win. And you have almost 10 years of experience to leverage. How do you decide what type of shows to include in your network? Or it just happens? Or I hate the word organic because everybody uses that as some sort of fly-by catchphrase. But how do you really decide moving forward into the new year what type of shows to include in your network and why?
That one has been interesting. It's been a trial and error. We, at one point, we had a show that was dedicated to reacting to reality TV. Shout out to Ebony, and that
copyright infringements come for you on the internet.
So no copyright infringements, which we got lucky with, but like their social media used to cook, but it didn't necessarily translate into listeners. But our movie show, Back to the Classics, again, shout out Jay Alonzo, shout out to David Neff, and Kay Williams. Kay was also a host on. Yeah, we had everybody.
That's
Listen,
an offline conversation. Go ahead.
Absolutely, I tapped everybody when I started this, but we had the movie show, and Kay had to exit because life be lifing. And once we got Dave on, the movie show just boom, just a huge spike. Became the number one show on the network, and I'm talking about the top 5 was all international. By the time we saw, I think when they finally ended the first local, well at least domestic, was LA, and they were like number 7. Other than that, it was super international. People were loving that show. We saw that cook. And then, we had our hip hop show, Turn My Mic Up. That was cooking. So we realized entertainment is going to always be consumed the same way. People want to be informed. People want to enjoy, getting that entertainment. So we're like, okay, cool. We'll be more so on the entertainment media side. And then we'll introduce a bit of our personality along the way. That's, with that using the podcast and kind of going from there. And once we realized what was actually, getting the most communication, the most conversations going, we kind of just honed into that and just really stuck there, and then allowed that to create that connection with the people to do more things on an individual standpoint, on just so, saying for funsies. I was doing my radio show, The Rewind. Shout out to Deshay and shout out to Isaiah. I'm sorry, Golden Manipur and Isaiah. We were doing our show only talking entertainment, but then we would just do like little fun things. Like we used to do, how many TV shows can you name off of the intro song in 50 seconds? And those videos used to cook. You know what I mean? It was just, it became a trial and error thing, realizing what your audience wants to consume from you and making sure you dial into it. Like tonight's conversation, if they start doing album reviews, that's not gonna go the way that their relationship conversations are gonna go. Or just a
nice conversation is a great large brand. They do live shows, so on and so forth. Google it, but continue.
Definitely and then with another cat from Ohio on there as well.
Jay, big old Jay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's definitely one of the ones that you gotta tap into. But anyway,
no, real quick, I like the way you use it, and don't pardon me because I'm a social media analyst.
Got you.
In real life. When you say that started to cook, for everybody watching, that means that it gained a lot of traction.
Yeah,
that
there we go.
That it really, attached. No. And I like the way you put it because I've created a phrase in my head based when you say it. You have a cook analysis. You built your brand off of a cook analysis. You
exactly.
analyze what you had fun with, what worked, what didn't in the trial and the error basis and things like that nature. And I want to ask you, how does your network engage with this audience and incorporate their feedback into your programming? And what's one success story or standout moment from a viewer or a show shows the impact of Beat Network?
I'm gonna go with what we are currently putting our majority of our eggs in right now, and that's 20 for 20. When we first started, we could be real, it was loosely inspired by Versus. I remember
which doesn't exist,
which no longer exists anymore at this point. They say it's going to exist, but we'll see. But me and my co-host, we were watching, I forget which Verses we were watching. And we were like, we found it interesting what the songs the artists were playing against. And I was, we literally sat there. My co-host actually sat there and was like, I feel like we could do this better. You know what I mean? So we hopped on Zoom and was doing it on Zoom. And if anybody's familiar with Zoom's audio, they have the automatic audio transitions that if something's too loud, they may lower it so that way you can hear the other person's room or whatever. So those things started to get a little wild. However, when we started doing the shows on Zoom through Facebook, and this is during the pandemic, so they weren't snatching stuff down. We used to do the shows on Zoom through Facebook.
The good old days.
The great days, you feel me? That used to just cook. Like, it used to just do so well. And then we said, okay, well, now they're starting to shut us down, so we're going to transition to YouTube. We're going to try a new look as well. So we, to get rid of the audio issues there, we just said, let's go into the same room and kind of go from there. And then not too long after that, Versus did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They started doing, I think it's right before Triller. They were still on IG, and they did Beanie Man and Bounty Killer in the same room.
Fire Versus.
I loved that Versus. That was
that grew up from Brooklyn like me. We went to memory lane and we had Guinness in hand with
you feel me?
objects.
My family's from Guyana, so there's a lot of West Indian influence. So yeah, we was up. You feel me? But they started doing so. Okay, cool. So now we know that we're doing the right thing, and we were still just playing off of loud speakers. So a lot of times people would hear the song, they just hear, you know what I mean? So we said, okay, we got to figure. We were noticing that the
audio quality.
You feel me? Exactly. You only get bass and you get some lyrics in between. But we did that. So, but we're noticing that once we transitioned to the room, people started joining the conversations more. People started interacting to the music more because they could hear it better. So that's when I started to realize, okay, we know what the content is and we know the interaction that people want. They want us in the same room. They want to make sure, that we fix all the audio issues. Let's touch on all of that. Once I got it hooked up to the system and we started creating, some different things, boom, went up. So then now you got the production side of it, the overlays, the transitions, all those different things, the promotions in general. And it just continued to just grow. And that was probably one of the, the most fun things that I've done. Another show that I've done that I just immediately saw the fruits of the labor was a show that we're going to bring back next year as well called FOH, Fuck Out of Here. You know what I mean? And it was
that's a loving term where I come from.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a loving term from New York.
I think that's where I got it from too.
I love it. It is our credo. It is my 9-year-old daughter slips up sometimes and says it. I'm not gonna lie. Continue.
That's a blooded New Yorker right there. You understand? But yeah, it's called Fuck Out of Here, and it's an unpopular opinion show. Everybody knows social media is the space to disagree with one another.
Yeah.
So we put up a show saying, okay, we're doing a show of unpopular opinions. And I mean, out the gate. And I'm talking about people that I may have only shared 2 words of conversation with, people I've never shared a word of conversation with, people I only know through social media, people from all over. Like, everyone was tuned into this show when we run it on Facebook.
Before you continue, everybody, you got to understand who you're listening to right now. Let's listen to what he said. He showed the analysis of what worked and what didn't work. He also showed what they're going to concentrate on. This is for all content creators watching this. And technically, this live stream is going to be spliced to a whole nother video just to talk about the Beat Network. I'm just going to be honest with you right now. I'm going to be totally honest with you because it's valuable information for the content creator that needs to be reposted and shared. And thank you, Los, for giving me clip work this weekend. You're awesome.
I got you. Everything is content.
I want everybody to understand. He went through transition. Stage 1, the idea. Stage 2, what worked, what didn't work. Stage 3, okay, adjustment. Stage 4, different platform pivots and things of that nature. And I want you to share this after you land your point. But what are some signature features of your shows that never saw you that you believe audience will love and you can continue right where you left off?
Got you. Hold on, let me think on that one.
Talking about the FOH show.
Oh yeah.
And people started hitting you up as soon as you put out the feelers, the content feelers for what's about to happen.
So with the FOH show, that was, everybody loves to get on social media and just disagree with people. So okay, cool. We'll put out some egregious, unpopular opinions and see where they go from there. And we made the audience a part of that show. So when the contestants would give their unpopular opinions, we would show the audience, of course, through StreamYard, we would show the audience reactions and their comments through the show. I remember not a lot of people, like 2 or 3 people hit me up saying it was kind of mean-spirited. And I'm like, no, we tell people what the show is. We tell people what's going to happen from there.
Everything is mean-spirited.
At the end of the day, the world is too sensitive. Right. But the people that would join us said, oh, no, this was fun. I wanted to do this. You know what I mean? So I'm like, cool, if that's what we're going to go off of, that's what we're going to go off of. But in regards to your question, can you rephrase it for me?
No, it's simple like this. Somebody never saw your network, never saw a show. What do you think is a feature that you have upcoming or something in place that you know they're going to fall in love with? And that's why I said continue to FOH. That sounds hella attracted to a viewer that must be entertained on a high level.
So as far as immediate, again, this Saturday, we are doing our music competition show called 20 for 20. That's going to be this Saturday on our YouTube channel. You can literally go into the search bar at Beat Network. You can at Beat Network on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We're going to be the only ones that come up.
Plug it.
You know what I'm saying? Real easy.
The important thing he said, and nobody else going to come up. Content creators, if you know, that's when it's gold. Continues.
Exactly. That's where you got to be at to make sure there's no confusion there.
Yeah.
But you at Beat Network in the search bar on YouTube. Go to the channel this Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be having my brothers, Jay Alonzo, going against Snack D's. And again, we break it down into 4 categories. The producer category, which the producer is going to be Boy Wonder. The rapper category, this is for y'all. This is for y'all nostalgic for our high school era time. The rapper is going to be Bow Wow. The singer songwriter is going to be Babyface. So that's songs that he's featured on, and songs that he's written. And then the wild card, funny enough that we're talking about it, is verses. If the artist has had a verses match, then you could play any of their music. You hear nothing but the hits with this show. If you like good music, if you like competition, you know what I'm saying? If you like good music, you like competition, you know what I'm saying? If you want to come in and talk your shit, come in and talk your shit. Like we built that community under 20 for 20. So if you come in Check out 20 for 20 this Saturday. You'll get a full understanding of what we do at Beat Network, and definitely keep locked in going into 2025, because January, like literally January, we are jumping out the window with getting so many things back on point that you want to make sure that you were there to say, oh, okay, I was around when everything, kicked back up. So, I was locked in. Get locked in, because we got some things on the way.
You touched on this earlier. I want to bring this back because I think it's important for content creators as well as for the viewers. How do you support creators that are involved in your network to help them thrive? And also, what challenges have you faced as a network itself, and how have you overcome them? Just to give people an idea.
Got you.
Of because again, I'm not talking to some regular content creator that puts a camera to his face. I'm talking to a network owner.
Got you. Skylar used to give me issues with this all the time, but sometimes I go too far.
King essay question. I like talking to him because he challenges the hell out of me. But continue.
Right, exactly, and honestly, I for sure need that. I sometimes jump out the window too much to help people. It's been to the
go
point.
To my TikTok. You're gonna see how much of my reactions from being burnt, and Skylar has put in my back because of that as well. That he helped me as well too.
I used to tell, like, when I would see that people have something, and I'm like, this will work if you just do this. It's almost like I couldn't just be like, okay, why don't you try this? I'm like, okay, yo, how about this? I'll jump in, do this, and we'll take it from here, this, that, and the third. And once people found their footing, all of a sudden I was a non-factor. So that used to really burn me, because I was letting a lot of people.
Horns.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Pause. Sorry, I'm not for you to cut. New York, we have big cutter offers. And listen, pardon me. Content creators, you cannot collab with everybody. I have been burnt recently.
Real bad.
Help people to the wazoo, and then they acting brand new. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You can't collab with everybody. This is one thing I add to this. I want him to finish this point. Number one, what he just said, content creators, is a great lesson that you should learn early. We as creators, we always have the desire to help. That's why we have so much content, no matter what. And we see potential more than other people see it, because we are creators, content producers, media producers. We can see what you don't see in yourself. But Nothing sucks to the ultimate worst than we put time, sending emails, 3 to 4 hour phone calls, hyping somebody up. They say that they're serious. They get their footing, as he just said, and they either try to steal the idea and say you never helped them, or they act brand new like you didn't invest all that time. I was burnt like that during the pandemic twice. I was burnt like that recently. You know what I'm saying? And content creators, to save your mental health and for you to not snapping or catch a charge, listen to what he says. You can lead a horse that is a great racehorse to the racing track, and you can show them they can do a successful fast lap. But if they act like they can run without you or not even try to do business, cut the ties immediately. Continue.
Got to. And one thing I had to learn with that is that I stopped, going about it, ultimately in a friendly way. I'm like, you're still going to get the conversations from me. You're still going to get, the ideas or whatever it is, but you need to bring me on as an official consultant. So I can definitely say I've been a consultant for multiple successful shows, not just in Vegas, but just really throughout the country, and helping them build their brand and build their product. Really, there's only been one person that I've collabed with that was just off the love, that we've continued to collaborate with each other, because every opportunity that I presented her, she presented with me. She's low key presented me with more opportunities I presented with her. So shout out to Race the Gym. That's probably the only person that I've had that experience with since I've been doing this. But she's one of the, alongside Skylar, she's one of the main people who used to tell me, like, stop doing this shit for free. Like, if you're going to do it, you need to make sure that you win just as much on the other end, because you can have that personal gratification, like, oh yeah, I helped them get there, but they're not about to get on their shows, but oh yeah, Big Los, man, he showed me how to do this, that, and the third. If anybody that transitioned from my viewers to their viewers, they could look at it and see, like, oh, okay, I see the influence between the two, but they're never going to be, oh yeah, Big Los helped me get this together. So I was like, okay, no, just bring me on as a consultant. And we'll set up a contract that will do X, Y, Z. When you start seeing a monetization from it, then I'm entitled to whatever percentage from your monetization. There's not a crazy percentage because it's consulting. You know what I'm saying?
No, but hold on. As a person who does consulting work myself and content creators, listen closely and listen now. People will move. You will see who people are. Pardon me, I'm in New York. It's noisy. It happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
People will move a particular way when money is involved. You'll see who's down to put the investment and who's playing games. Continue.
No, absolutely, 100%. And to that exact point, it may not be the craziest percentage, but to what I was saying earlier, the more people you help, the more that adds onto your percentage. So now you're you're ultimately getting paid to literally just play the background guy. You're getting paid just to be like, this is how you should do it, or this is how it should be presented, or let me create this for you and then you can move it over this way. And now you're going into different negotiations. Like, okay, now I'm no longer your consultant. Now I'm a producer of your show. I'm helping move these things into different levels, moving you into different areas. And at one point, like with Press Play, when we were doing the radio show, Press Play was the only independent hip hop. Was it hip? Actually, low key, it was actually the only independent urban music station that was on iHeart in Vegas. And there were a bunch of stations that did it before us. We were iHeart, what was it, 4 or 5 months in? And that was off of my promotion. Within the first year, we were doing 6,000 to 7,000, listeners a day. Some listeners, a few hundred listeners would just put us on and walk away. And we would find, and then like we would get interested and kind of see who are these people, and you'll go and check the algorithm, and it'll say it's like playing at a Starbucks or something like that. I'm like, oh, cool, like I'll take that. But I say all that to say, that is probably I think that's both of how I would go about, trying to network and help people out, but also was a challenge because I would offer so much of what wasn't given back. And I know that you're not supposed to do any favors with the thought process of it being returned. But if you see success, and if you know that success wasn't something that was done individually, that success wasn't something done on your own, mental and off your own efforts, then something should come back. You know what I'm saying? If opportunity creates itself, if there's a chance to create a second opportunity, offer that out to somebody. And that's something that I've always been building, which is why, again, me and Rach the Gym has been so close for so long. Any opportunity she had, if there was an opportunity for someone else to collect on it, she would throw that to me. Or if it just, okay, well, at least just go apply for this because I got in, you should be able to get in. But if it was like, oh no, I have a +1 type deal, I want you to come with me, and vice versa. She was supposed to go with me to LA to do the Revolt Summit, but she wasn't able to make it. So I took my brother with me. But if opportunity is created and you know that you've gotten somewhere with the help of somebody else, share the wealth. Do that for somebody the same way they did it for you.
I've learned the hard way in this content game, and that's where it's kind of like the music business. A lot of people don't have the business mind to approach content from a place of professionalism and business acumen and knowing the power of relationships. I repeat, look what he says. It's all business. We do this. I literally felt in my mind, I heard haters that I've seen from comments. Well, I shouldn't pay something if you want to help me. Listen, this is business. This is business. Nothing is given away for free. You got to pay for the clothes you wear. You got to pay for the food you eat. You got to pay for groceries, but you're not willing to invest in a consultant. For instance, he does consultancy work, and I think you should hit him up on his socials, as you see above his head and what he just dropped earlier. Hit him up for media consultancy work. If you need social media strategy, hit me up in my link in bio for a session. I would rather invest in saving my time than trying to figure it out myself. I'll give you a perfect example. I don't know how to dry clean clothes, so guess what I do? I go to the dry cleaners on the corner and she hooks me up because she has a specialty in the area that helps me catch up versus me trying to research how to dry clean, me investing $1,000 in a machine. I don't understand why people don't look at media production as serious business that should be invested in. I'm sorry, continue.
No, that's exactly that. I mean, even when it comes down to doing this media stuff, you don't want to pay for a consultant, but you'll pay $20 a month to Spreaker to make sure that your podcast gets to all these different platforms instead of you figuring out the RTMS and the RSS feeds and posting it yourself. You're going to utilize these platforms to do these kind of things. So if you're willing to pay for that, you should definitely be just as willing to pay for somebody that's going to take you to that next level because, man, I have 100 episodes. I have 100 episodes of no one listening. You know what I mean? Because you didn't incorporate what else should have been a part of that. You didn't incorporate what all could have, you know what I'm saying, fell within that scope of what you do. And everyone doesn't know everything. And if you're not willing to go out of your way to learn everything, put yourself in a position that somebody could just teach it to you. But all good things, come with a price tag, you know what I'm saying? Fortunately and unfortunately. And if you know that you're not willing to do that, then you really got to think, is this even a field for you? Because if you didn't kind of do your own proper research yourself, and then you're also not willing to have somebody do it for you, is this the space that you really want to be in? Because like I said, you're going to fail a lot more before things take off. But once you take off, they're up and running.
Yeah, and that's the funny part. People will pay and go into debt for 4 years of college.
Mm-hmm.
Then have the nerve to say, hey, I'm trying to be a content creator. Hey, I want to have a show. And aren't willing to invest in people like you who can teach them how to set up their own media programming, or people like me who need to learn how to set up their own social media marketing game plan to retain and convert customers into paying customers monthly. That's what I'm saying. People are going to debt for 4 years of school. And sorry, as graduates, we know unless you specialize in a particular field of study in your undergrad or your grad, you're going to be broke like most of the college students that graduated out without a specific target. That's just a fact. It's a sad but true. And that's why everybody should invest in the Beat Network. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a Patreon?
No, we don't have a Patreon yet.
How dare you? We got to
I know.
offline. How dare you?
I know. I know. People been telling me to get a Patreon for a minute, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's just a window. I'm not sure if I'm prepared to jump out just yet, but I definitely want to get out there.
Well, how can fans of your network support your growth and get more involved on a monthly basis so they can support your endeavors?
Absolutely. Right. So right now, it's the personal Cash App because everything just comes out of pocket. You could definitely hit me, CH Sampson 89 on Cash App. There we go. Then I believe you can also donate via PayPal, again at Beat Network on PayPal, for donations as well. Those are probably the best ways to do it. Or just hit me directly on any of these sites. I run all the social media. Just hit me directly and we can definitely work something out. But yeah, the Patreon is definitely something that I do have set up, but I want to make sure that I'm getting all the content back swinging before we start offering those Patreon exclusive joints that people can support monetarily through subscription.
What is the Cash App again?
Cash App is CH Sampson. So my name basically 89.
All right.
Yeah, it's just the personal Cash App.
All right, here we go. Right.
Yep,
there,
that'll be
correct?
it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's correct. Everybody support the Beat Network and what he's doing. Tell them once again what January is looking like before we close off the show.
Got you. January, we are just doing a full-fledged relaunch of everything. Again, this is a field that you have your ups and downs, and you got to understand personal is just as much as an up and down. But we're coming out of the downs and we're going back up. January, we're going to be doing a full rebrand. We're going to be bringing out new shows. We're going to be having some old favorites returning. 20 for 20 is going to continue to go up to the next level. All the content in general, we're going to be transitioning into different media fields. It's going to pretty much be a whole new Beat Network. So we want y'all to get involved now. Say that you were able to be there before the takeoff. And for people that's been there since the actual launch, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. Let these people know. Now, we've been cooking. We've been all over the place. So if I'm saying it's going to be bigger than what we've already done, trust and believe it's going to be something memorable. So we do appreciate every new person, every person that's been around for rocking with us. But yes, come January 2025, there's going to be a new look to Beat Network, to Beat in general. So definitely want y'all to be a part of it. And I appreciate KaleafWins. I appreciate you, Mob, for having me up on here. You know what I mean? To have this fun and talk this ish with you. Because we've been trying to set it up for a minute.
And just to have fun. And I'm glad that the middle to the end of the show was concentrating on the importance of more media networks in the space, because everybody sounds like they're in the echo chamber of glazing each other in terms of content ideas. And you bring something fresh, something new. But people have to understand, and not to get all deep, seeing black men in business.
Right.
Managing things, creating things from the ground up. When you heard the no's, you created your own yes.
Exactly.
When you saw the obstacles, when you saw the empty spaces in content, you filled them with your content. You're building anew. I want everybody to follow the Beat Network on all socials. Again, support the Beat Network, Cash App, right there in your face. Thank you so much, Los, for joining the show. You're going to stay after a little bit because I know you got things to do. Everybody, so listen, it don't cost you nothing to subscribe to both.
Costs nothing.
Subscribe, share. Check them out. On Saturday, what time again? Pacific
Saturday,
Eastern?
8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, 20 for 20 live. Jay Alonzo versus Snag D's. Boy Wonder as the producer. Bow Wow as the rapper. Babyface the singer-songwriter. And Versus as the wild card.
Thank you so much, everybody. If you love my content, please hit me up on Cash App as well, $ KaleafWins. Hey, give your favorite content creator a $25 Cash App today, starting with Los and myself. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody, Thanks for joining the quick live stream. Los, thanks for joining. Do not leave. And everybody have a great day. And we out. And we out. And we out. And we OUT. Yeah, just Los.